we discuss the airstream mechanism, and we have understood the pulmonic airstream mechanism. Pulmonic airstream mechanism is, of course, the production of speech sounds by letting air out from the lungs and by letting air into, drawing air into, sucking air into the lungs. So these are the two processes of as pulmonic airstream mechanism, and it is known as pulmonic airstream mechanism because of the involvement of the lungs. And we understand that most of the speech sounds of the languages of the world are produced by an aggressive pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism. It's very important for us. So I repeat once again, most of the languages of the world, to be very precise, most of the speech sounds of the languages of the world are produced by a pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism. That is, by letting air out of the lungs, and the organs involved in this process of pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism: lung muscles, windpipe or trachea. Then, of course, above that we have other organs of speech like the larynx and the pharynx, oral cavity, nasal cavity. Now we move on to now that we studied the pulmonic airstream mechanism, we have to move forward to the glottalic airstream mechanism. The air is continuing its passage from the lungs. It comes to the glottis. This is in fact the glottis here inside. This is above the collarbones. We have the collarbones here. So above the collarbones, below the jaw is, of course, the lower, the bone here of underneath our mouth. This part, this is the jaw. So between the collarbones and the jaw, you have this part is known as larynx. And larynx, what is larynx? Here we have the Adam's apple, this particular area. That projection is, of course, Adam's apple. And that Adam's apple is known as larynx. And it is the housing of the vocal cords. And inside the vocal cords, we have the gap between the vocal cords. Vocal cords, we understand, we will be, next session, we'll be looking at the organs of speech, and we will see more about the vocal cords and organs of speech. And there is in fact a gap between the vocal cords, and that gap between the vocal cords is known as glottis. So sounds produced at the glottis are known as glottal sounds, and the passage of air through the glottis is known as glottalic airstream mechanism. Glottalic airstream mechanism. And we understand that we have, of course, glottalic aggressive sounds and glottalic ingressive sounds. Sounds produced by letting air out through the larynx. Glottalic aggressive sounds, like pulmonic aggressive sounds, pulmonic ingressive sounds, glottalic aggressive sounds, glottalic ingressive sounds. Air from the lungs comes through the trachea, the windpipe, comes to the larynx, comes again to the glottis, and it passes through the vocal cords. And that passage is known as glottalic airstream mechanism. So let us just review, understand airstream mechanism, pulmonic airstream mechanism, glottalic airstream mechanism. Now we move on to the third airstream mechanism, the velaric airstream mechanism. Velaric airstream mechanism. So what is the velum? The velum we have to understand. Velum is the soft palate. Soft palate. Okay, we have the mouth, we have the lower lip, the upper lip, lower teeth, upper teeth. Then lower part of the mouth, you have the tongue, front of the tongue, center of the tongue, back of the tongue. Upper part, upper lip, upper teeth. Then we have the hard palate. Hard palate is, of course, in the front part of the roof of the mouth. and behind that we have the soft palate, and that soft palate is known as velum. And sounds, rather, air is passing through the back of the uh, tongue. We have the back of the tongue. When we say, for example, when we say the sound like king, king, kick, cobra, k, our back of the tongue is against the velum or soft palate, and air is just passing through the back of the tongue and the velum, and that passage of air through the back of the tongue and the velum is known as velaric airstream mechanism. Very easy to understand. And we have, okay, velaric aggressive sounds and velaric ingressive sounds. Velaric aggressive sounds are sounds produced by letting air out between the back of the tongue and the velum. Velaric ingressive sounds are sounds which are produced by letting air into the lungs between the back of the tongue and the soft palate. So, with this, we can wind up today's discussion on the speech mechanism. I'm just summing up everything once again. Speech mechanism refers to the mechanism behind the production of speech sounds. And speech sounds are produced by letting the air go out of the human body and letting the air come into the human body. And based on the passage of air, we have three types of airstream mechanism. There are three types of airstream mechanism: pulmonic airstream mechanism, glottalic airstream mechanism, and velaric airstream mechanism. Simple. Pulmonic airstream mechanism is the passage of air from the lungs through the windpipe out of the mouth. Pulmonic aggressive airstream mechanism. If the air is going into the lungs, it is pulmonic ingressive airstream mechanism. So pulmonic airstream mechanism, glottalic airstream mechanism, glottalic aggressive. Air from the lungs is going out through the glottis, and it is glottalic aggressive airstream mechanism. And if the air is just going in through the glottalic or glottis, it is ingressive glottalic airstream mechanism. And last, we have the velaric airstream mechanism, velaric aggressive airstream mechanism, velaric ingressive airstream mechanism. So this way, by letting air out and letting air in, by pushing air out and puffing air out and sucking air in, we make sounds. And of course, we speak plenty of words, sentences, and beautiful things. This is how language function in our life. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you all.